What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I am in my tortoise shed. It is an enormous shed that I put together for these amazing animals. I have African spur-thighed tortoises, Aldabra tortoises, Specs hingebacks, Libyans, yellowfoots, and pancakes, all in here. And I obviously live in a colder region, so if you are in a colder region and you do have lots of tortoises, you're gonna need to find a way to make them happy in the wintertime and also protect them not just from the temperatures, but from damaging your property. So you bring animals in, you gotta make it tortoise proof. With that being said, in this building, I have done that. Now, what I did was, first of all, I constructed the entire thing out of pressure treated lumber. I also added a dehumidifier because you know when it's really warm in here and it's cold outside, you're gonna get high humidity. So we don't wanna allow mold to grow behind the pressure treated lumber in the studs. We want to allow a little bit of ventilation, so I have a dehumidifier over there, which is running continuously. I also have a tile floor, which is over top of pressure treated plywood, and I have drains at the bottom, which go right down in case we have to power wash, which we usually do a couple times a year, usually the fall and spring, before we bring them in and right after we take them out, just to put it down, or do that before we put new hay down. Behind me here, egg laying box. When I constructed this building, I left out the floor joists right here. So these animals, these females, can lay their eggs naturally without an interruption. I know those of you that have had the issue, it is so rewarding to see something like this, and it's a great design. There are animals out there that people have that are so big and so heavy, and to pick them up and put them in another tote just to get them to lay and not even be able to move is a pain in the butt. And we all know that tortoises can die of being egg mounted. They have to lay their eggs, and there's no better way than do it naturally to reduce the stress. Another thing I like to definitely touch on is the importance of having as many heat bulbs as possible. Now, I have several, I think I have three 250 watt heat bulbs and a lot of 75 to 100 watt heat bulbs in UVB. The reason why is because if you prevent a tortoise from getting sick to begin with, you're gonna save money on medical bills. You're gonna save money on veterinary bills. So you might be paying a little bit more money on the electricity side, but at the end of the day, your animals aren't getting sick. And I'll swap for that all day long. So here we go, it's feeding time. This is some green leaf. The different types of food we provide these animals vary based on what's available and the price. So we like to stick with romaine, we like to stick with green leaf, endive, escarole, dandelion, and sometimes kale. But we don't do it all the time. We do a mix. We have a variety. We also take days off of greens and actually just feed them Missouri tortoise chow, which is also very healthy for them. It's gonna be a challenge as these Aldabras get larger, I feel like, because there's some sulcatas in here. Hopefully they'll get bigger, obviously, over time, but if I have any small ones, they're not gonna be able to stay in here. The Aldabras will just get too big and overpowering. And I'm gonna have to layer up over there with my yellowfoot so they don't climb into the other side. But this is one that's a little bit more outgoing. And my biggest Aldabra is right over here. This one's 26 inches and definitely heavy to pick up. I'm not sure her weight. I haven't weighed her in recent time. Well, every time you touch her, she freaks out. She's still getting used to me. I don't know why. Had her since she was maybe about this big. This is another female. This is Athena, my biggest female. She's a machine. She lays the most eggs, and she almost has an appetite as much as she does. Now, she'll have 2 to 3 heads a day of whatever greens you offer. And this one over here is probably only 2, but she is just enormous. And let me just touch on a few different things with these animals. Again, I can't stress enough, the number one thing is providing a variety of diet for them and having clean water. Dirty water is worse than no water. We'd rather have no water at all than have a bowl full of dirty water. So tortoises, they can retain moisture through their food, such as the greens, so they don't have to have access to water every single day. So you can provide water 2-3 times a week where as needed. In here with the smaller tortoises, the Specks, Hingebacks, and the Libyans, I also change the water daily just because they climb in and out and it's just easier. They seem to be more of a tortoise that likes the water. The Specks Hingebacks come from Africa, but look at how cool these guys are. This is a male, you can see by the larger tail. It's got a slight concave plastron here, but it's not that noticeable. Very active, very healthy. Now, one thing that people think about tortoises is that all they do is eat greens. Well, not necessarily. They will eat meats as well. They are omnivores. This one here loves its night crawlers. So maybe once or twice a week, we'll bring out night crawlers. I'll cut them up with scissors and I'll put them on a plate. Actually, it's more like once a week at tops. I don't do it too often. And they all congregate right around it and go to town. They attack it. Not like they're attacking this lettuce because they're not really that interested, obviously, right now. That one seems pretty healthy and fat, so it's well fed. I think there's some more down here, but they're just escaping the light. They like to go in the dark. They like to burrow. They're underneath logs a lot. When they're outside during the summer in the pens, you really see them come out when it rains and when it's cooler. They don't like extreme temps and they don't like too much light. A very strange tortoise. I'm sure they spend a lot of time burrowing in the wild. We have more Libyan tortoises over here. Now, just want to touch on this real quick. I have a natural gas powered heating source here, so I can keep the thermostat between 80 and 85 degrees. So if it's 20 degrees outside, it's 80, 85 in here, and these animals are doing just great. But with a door so big, I have a double door behind me, behind him. Let me show you real quick. Look how big this door is. You have to have this insulated. Okay, I got some insulation here, and I got to tie this up in the bottom. The tortoises ruined it last winter. But you got to open the door and close it fast because when you're getting into the colder months, we're going to get drafts. And sometimes a tortoise will be sitting right here. And if I ever open the door real fast and there's a draft and it's cold outside and there's a tortoise right here, I'll bring it right over to the heat lamp just to get it under there and try and warm it up as fast as I can. But I also have Libyan Greek tortoises over here and some yellowfoots. Look at how amazing. Yellowfoots are one of my favorite tortoises. And this one here is about 8 inches and it looks like a female, still small, not quite able to lay eggs yet, but she is a very active and healthy animal. All these yellowfoots are just doing fantastic. I've had them for quite some time, some of them as they were younger, and they have been growing here. That's, I think that is a female right here. This is a female. Let me see. Yeah, this is an adult female. All right, calm down, calm down. This is an adult female and this is a male. Now, this one here could easily fool somebody just because the tail is a little smaller, but it is concave here and I have seen this one breed. I know for a fact that is a male. This is a long run for them and they seem to be doing well. They were in here last winter. Half the year, again, we keep all our tortoises outside, but sometimes we keep them out a little bit longer. The sulcatas can be out probably about 7 months of the year. Technically, they could be out all year long. They would just have to dig a huge tunnel and go maybe 15, 20 feet underground when we get into the wintertime, and you'd have to stuff it with hay or leaves just to prevent drafts. But I don't know if I really want tunnels all through my backyard. Next thing you know, I'm walking and I fall into a cave. So trying to prevent that. We have some Libyan tortoises. They like to sleep a lot, but once you pick them up, usually they open up their eyes, they wake up. They are machines. These guys have been eating a lot of greens. This is a male. Let me show you the difference between a male and a female here. This is a nice female like this one. You can see the different shapes of the shell. This is more elongated and this one's more oval and round and high domed, which is needed to carry the eggs. But you can see males are always slightly smaller. This male will get bigger for sure. I've had larger males, I've seen them almost pretty much the size of this one, but just more, like I said, elongated, not as wide and high domed. But the plastron is not really much different, but you can see the difference in the tail. Much larger tail, much smaller tail there. Now these guys don't have like the longest and biggest nails like Armenian Greeks or maybe Marginatas might, but I'm sure they can dig a little bit. They do burrow a little. They like to go in the greenhouses and go underneath the hay in the summer when they're outside. But this is a nice runway for these guys. I got, again, really good heating sources, heat bulbs, UVB to make sure that they're not catching any drafts and they are comfortable. The only thing that we do is we probably take them all out. We soak them once or twice a week, just depending on what we're seeing with their activity and how much food they're consuming. But soaking your tortoises is ideal, and that way you also don't have to have dirty water all the time in your enclosure. But yeah, as you can see, these guys are going to town. Another thing I want to add is sulcata over there. Look at this. She's got a thing for this bin. I don't know why. In fact, I have another sulcata in there that's soaking, but I don't know why. What do you want? More food? Is that gonna make you happy? Anyway, with another thing I wanted to add was the fly traps in here. Okay, so the fly traps are so important. In fact, I put them in here before I put the tortoises in here because I want to try and help gain as much control of, get a head start really on the flies, because if we didn't do that, which we have had that problem before, I think the first winter I had put these animals in here, we had a major fly problem, and there were just thousands of them breeding like crazy, and they would lay their eggs on the tortoise droppings, and underneath there's a little bit of moisture sometimes underneath the hay, so it got out of hand. So I want to make sure if you guys have a building and you're going to put tortoises in there in the winter months, to definitely get a head start by putting a lot of fly traps to try and keep that down from the beginning. So that's pretty much it for this shed. 20 foot by 14 foot, just part of Reptastic Park, part of what I got here. And I want to show you my pancake tortoises. So check this out real quick. I got these pancakes in here, and I've made slate, which look at it, how cool this is. So this one's actually off the ground. It climbed up and got up in here. And what's cool about pancakes, as you've seen in other videos, I'm sure, is that they can inflate and deflate just to fit into cracks and crevices. But this is the female, and they're pretty good climbers. They love to climb rocks. So I made this as natural as I can for them, just for the winter time. There's a male under here, I think. And yeah, so they don't really need a ton of space, but again, it's important I keep the windows closed. Got my bulbs over there. Very cool species. I hope to get more of these. But if there's any questions, any comments, feel free to leave them. I can address them there. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe. And I appreciate you tuning in to Reptastic Adventures, or what I call Reptastic Park. It's getting there. Got so many animals, so many different projects going on. A lot to come, guys. But thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.